Hello and welcome to Zen Maintenance with me, Christine Burke. This is a podcast about self-care and self-discovery for every age and every stage of life. In this podcast, we use the wisdom teachings of yoga and related well-being practices to discover more about who you are and how to live your most liberated life, one breath, one day at a time. I'm so glad you're here. Grateful, truly. Thank you for showing up today in curiosity, in the spirit of living your most interesting, creative, authentic life and opening to more joy, more healing, more living. So, today's episode, Grief and Joy During the Holidays, How to Make Space for Both, is especially near and dear to my heart, and I hope it warms and calms your heart as well. What can you expect from this episode? You can expect to find a new level of awareness and understanding for the way your body processes the highs and lows of emotions by storing them for you, and how you can stretch your container to bring in more joy and gratitude and peace during this season. You can expect to open more freely to the moments of magic that are arriving for you as gifts from the universe, just raining down. They're there. The universe is always giving gifts. What's our question of the day? How can I enjoy the sparkle, warmth, and beauty of this season without becoming overwhelmed by feelings of nostalgia, loss, change, and fear of what the future might hold? Well, that's a pretty big question for a little old podcast, but we are not afraid here at Zen Maintenance because, after all, we are here to fully live. And to do that, we got to get into it in order to get liberated. But the first thing we're going to do is get into our mindful moment. So for our meditative moment, we're just going to check in with where you are. If you are on the go, in the car, in motion, just bring yourself into that feeling of presence. Keep your eyes open, stay focused and aware, but drop in, soften, and release into the meditative state that you can accomplish even in your motion or your movement or your activity. If you are still or able to be still, let's get stiller. So get comfy. If you're sitting, if you're lying down, wherever you are, just nestle in. If you're able to take the mudra of the day, simple. Bending the elbows in, palms are closed, fingers are closed, but they're out to the sides. We're making sort of a V shape here. If you can see me on YouTube, it looks like maybe a martini glass, a V shape. Could be a chalice of sorts. If you're taking the mudra, but you're listening in, just bend your elbows, pull them alongside of your body, let your arms fan out a little bit. And this is the mudra for universal energy. If you're able to, close your eyes. Begin to drop into the moment and out of all of the things that might pull you forward or take you back. We are interested in this moment, in experiencing the clarity of the now. It's simple here in our present moment together. There's nothing to finish or start, arrange, organize, plan, or schedule. There's just us together, connecting to universe, to spirit, to source, to the energy that supports us, breathes us, beats your heart. To just be basking in that together, filling and emptying with breath. And in the shape that we've taken for those who are in this mudra, We're filling with the life-affirming energy that the universe is always doling out. The exhales allow us to relax away from that drains us, depletes us, or enervates us. We're in a receptive pose, we're in a receptive mode. And we're letting that be enough for now. Feeling the rise and fall of your chest. Allowing for simplicity. Moving beyond the busy mind. Experiencing being. Stay with it. Stay with yourself. Stay with your breath. And then we'll bring our hands together. Prayer pose at the heart center if you're able to use your hands right now. This prayer, this posture is an offering of you, of you to all that is, as you are. Nothing to improve upon. Your presence is plenty. And then we'll take a longer, deeper inhale. We'll sigh it out. Releasing the hands, not rushing to open the eyes. Very calmly, beginning when you're ready to gently blink your eyes open. And if you were with open eyes, and this meditation just brought you more clearly into the present, just stay with that. If you're coming back into the world by opening up your eyes, taking in your surroundings, taking in the light, things might look a little different. We do experience shift when we take those mindful moments. All right, so let's get back to the question. How can I enjoy the sparkle and beauty of the season without becoming overwhelmed by feelings of nostalgia, loss, change, and fear of what the future might hold? If you're able to grab a cuppa, as they say in Britain, and put your feet up, let's do it. And if not, and you're fitting this in while on the go, just get cozy in your mind. Okay, if you need to press pause in the podcast, grab a little drink, go for it. What we will focus on today is the concept of stretching the container. The container is a metaphor for all the layers of a person's being, physical, emotional, energetic, and mental, that hold their life force and experiences. In times of trauma or grief, this container can feel small and fragile, as the pain is so large it constantly hits the trigger. Like not having enough room at a party and you keep bumping into people that remind you of things. Or you could think of it as bumping into the people that you really don't want to bump into. Sometimes it's like that. We don't have enough room inside of our own being because we're in a particular heightened state, which the holidays can bring, and everything is just that much more potent. So it can cause frequent, intense bursts of pain or discomfort. There's probably no time when that's more common and poignant than during the holidays. And that can span from Rosh Hashanah to New Year's Day and everything in between. To quote one of my favorite Christmas songs, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but it can be the most tearful or melancholy time too. Let me paint a personal picture. When I lost my husband and my brand newly 13-year-old daughter Clementine lost her dad, it was December 5th in the middle of the night, just 2 days after getting our Christmas tree. And it was, and still is, our favorite time of year. But to be thrust into shock and grief at any time would be unbearable. It was exacerbated at this moment as it planted itself inside of the season of joy and light while we were plunged into darkness. To fully paint the picture, a little more context will help. We had spent 2 traumatic months in the hospital with Clementine in critical care due to a severe COVID-related gut imbalance that went wild, and it became life-threatening. So after all of the trauma of the hospital, we were finally sprung. We were home free. It was just in time to spend my husband's favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, together. Just the 3 of us, shaky, but happily celebrating being home together. And we cozied up around our wooden kitchen table, lit with candles, and just feeling so good to be out of fluorescent lights and beeping and clanging and mechanical bells that woke us up in angst and fear every hour for weeks on end. And here we are, ready for new beginnings. Thanksgiving. We wrote down what we were grateful for in each other and what we were grateful for in ourselves, and we shared them. And it was just this beautiful, possible moment. And then we started to focus hard on the continued healing of Clementine and the continued healing of our hearts. And little did we know that 17 days later, our world would be blown apart and our hearts would be shattered by the death of Gary. Now, what we did 3 days later might sound insane. And it's true, we were in shock. But when Clementine asked if we would still have Christmas, I knew what she meant. The light and traditions of the season were an anchor in our lives, something we look forward to all year. And to lose so much and encounter such radical change, we needed to cling to them more than ever. So 3 days after this dramatic loss began, my mom, Clementine, our dog Ginger, and I went to see Santa. And get our pictures taken. And I'll tell you, somewhere in the fake snow and the merry elves and the people shopping and the most extraordinarily authentic Santa I've ever seen, there was a sliver and a flicker of connection and hope and light. And I actually took Santa sort of aside and I told him what had happened and asked him if he could connect us to Gary or pass a message for me or check in on him. Now, I'm sure that Santa had a good story at his dinner table that night, and it was probably more than he bargained for in Santa school. But in my altered state, I just wanted any Christmas magic I could lay my hands on to keep me connected to him. And in my heart, Santa's all about miracles. And there was something about the mystic energy and the spirit of the season that made it feel that it was possible. And I know it is possible. So that night, in between the sobbing episodes that followed me daily through that year and sporadically beyond, as I struggled with getting the lights on the tree, my emotions were overwhelming and I couldn't for the life of me find the ends of the string lights to connect inside the pokey, sticky branches of the tree. And I thought, what the am I doing? The love of my life and my soulmate is gone. My child is in extreme pain. And I'm just forging ahead, trying to be normal when my nervous system is screaming in agony. And I just stepped back and I took a deep breath and I checked in. And suddenly I heard myself saying out loud, Gary, can you please just help me here? I can't do Christmas without you. And as everything is my witness, I suddenly stepped back to the tree with this sort of renewed confidence, and I reached inside, and with absolute knowing, after about 40 minutes of struggling, I grabbed the 2 ends and I eased them together and I ignited the lights. And I knew he was present. And since then, I always have. Now, there are many moments to share like that, and we will do a podcast about those kinds of mystical moments that we've had in our lives. But right now, I want to explain why I'm sharing my story today. This time of year, this season is filled with magic, but it can also feel like a minefield. You open one box, you hear one song, you see one picture, you taste a bite of pie, and you might be plunged into any number of intense emotions, from nostalgia to happiness to grief to joy, and often cycling through all of them at record speed. You may feel the urge to withdraw, and if that's the space where you feel the most at peace, then that's the place for you to be. But there is a lot of powerful positive energy at this time of year, and exposing ourselves to it can also help stretch us in the right direction toward healing and enjoying the season. But you have to do it at a pace that works for you, of course. Let's explore this a little more, a little deeper. How do we handle all of what's going on at this time of year if you are a holiday lover, like me, and maintain your enthusiasm and festive spirit while grappling with the conflict and seeming opposition or paradox of all of these feelings? And if you're not a holiday lover, how do you make it through without drowning in sorrow and frustration? This is where expanding your container comes in really handy. The goal is not to eliminate grief or sadness or pretend it isn't part of our lives, and especially not to pretend at this time of year, just because there may be a lot of jolly people that you're running into. But the goal is to build a bigger, more resilient container. Our emotions are crucial to our humanity. It's what separates us from AI. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but it is definitely one of the things that separates us and makes us special and why we still matter. And each of our emotions are a treasure in their own way. But creating a bigger container, well, this expansion allows you to create space between yourself and your pain or your worry or your fear by enabling you to observe your emotions rather than being consumed by them. This perspective shift helps us realize we are bigger than our immediate pain. It's only a part of us, not all. And it taps into our ability to respond to the experience with equanimity, awareness, balance, wisdom, rather than simply reacting to it and becoming overwhelmed. Now, I'm a big believer that everybody experiencing loss and grief has their own timetable and their own path. And there is no one set way or time frame to go about healing. But this concept of making room inside of ourselves to hold all of life has been a lifesaver for me over the many decades I've practiced it, and especially in the last 4 years. It allows the feelings that are difficult and also clears room for the others to coexist. The lighter, calmer, happier feelings associated to gratitude, appreciation, enduring love, and so on. The things that we so desire and so seek to be with this time of year. In yoga philosophy, stretching your container means using physical and mental practice to create more space within yourself, to expand your capacity for thoughts, emotions, and breath. And we do this in various ways. It's a metaphor for increasing your resilience and ability to hold your experiences, but not by pushing harder, by moving from a place of self-compassion and awareness to find greater ease. Think of a potter using the wheel. You can't go too fast or the clay will come apart. But if you don't move the wheel at a certain speed, it will also collapse. We must keep moving forward in life with just the right tension and balance to stretch the container of our minds and bodies. The container expands physically through breath and movement, and mentally by quieting the thinking mind, as we've discussed in the podcasts in other episodes, and also to connect with your discerning mind. Some of the ways that we can stretch the physical container are expanding lung capacity. Through breath work, your lungs can gradually increase in capacity, which is a physical form of expansion. And in mind-body work, the lungs are known to be associated with grief. Another is increasing range of motion. Instead of forcing it like brute force stretching, a more refined approach focuses on lengthening the muscles and the nerves, allowing for a greater range of motion and flexibility. Another is connecting breath and movement. The steady rhythm of breath, inhale, expand, exhale, contract, is a fundamental principle that can be applied to all movements, creating a deeper sense of space and flow. Now, some of the ways that we can stretch the mental and emotional container: creating mental space. We've been through this in this podcast before, and we must remember and say it time and time again. This is taking a pause, slowing down, and one of my personal favorites for this, naming the feeling. So I'll say, oh, there's sadness, there's pain, there's grief. I might even say, there's fear of getting older. There's fear of my parents getting older. There's fear of what will happen next in the world. You can name anything. And you could even give it a name that's really personal for you, something that you experience a lot, maybe particular to this time of year. Giving something a name starts to take some of the mystery power out of it, and we just see it clearly for what it is. Here's a fluctuation in my mental or emotional experience. And we see that it is part of us, not all of us. Even when it might seem like it's the only thing. Sadness might come like a tsunami and take you down. And you might even find yourself on the floor, as I have found myself countless times. But when I got to the place where I could say, there's the sadness, there's the grief, it started to integrate, not overwhelm. It can create a sense of mental spaciousness and make you more open to new ideas. And this can allow you to access a clearer, wiser part of your mind. Cultivating self-compassion. By focusing on the sensations of each pose in yoga or each pose in life, rather than on being perfect or perfect form, you can learn to be more curious and honest with yourself. Allow yourself to find ease and release some of the tension. These are some of the ways we can stretch our physical container. Connecting breath and movement, as mentioned, that steady rhythm of inhaling, expand, exhale, contract. This is a fundamental principle. And you can use this when you're running, when you're walking, when you're practicing yoga, even just in breath practices by themselves. So as we learn how to navigate difficult emotions, yoga can help create that container to safely explore and process them without being overwhelmed. And this time of year, we are so vulnerable also to things like being wistful for how things were, the nostalgia, or how we wish them to be if they're not turning out exactly like we see in other people's pictures or pictures from our past. Those very memories that should warm us can also be a source of pain as we miss those days. Children grow up, grown-ups get older, and the passage of time is especially poignant at this time. So understanding expansion and contraction can give us a sense of continuity. As you stretch outside your comfort zone in some of those moments, there is a natural tendency to contract back, right? You go out, you come back. So each time you move through this and expand your capacity, you're like a rubber band, stretched repeatedly, which becomes more elastic. This is a concept in yoga called spanda. As we bounce back and forth from joyful to wistful, to happy to sad, we can actually become more emotionally elastic and stronger. If we give ourselves space for it, if we recognize it for what it is, it's natural. It is natural to feel a roller coaster of feelings in life, and especially at this time of year. What we are trying to manage is not being overwhelmed or feeling out of control on the roller coaster. We want to have some sense of agency or resources so that that ride is a little smoother when we're ready for it to be. Now, something that our bodies are doing is helping us process all of this. And the nervous system acts as the body's alarm system and primary emotional storage unit with no cost, because we know how expensive storage units are, right? Well, your body does it for free. When we encounter stress or trauma, our sympathetic nervous system activates, as I'm sure you know by now, fight, flight, or freeze response, floods our bodies with adrenaline and cortisol, and it engages our muscles in defense. The critical point is that when we can't complete the protective action, this means if we have to suppress our fear or feelings and we remain in a state of threat, that surge of survival energy, it doesn't go away. It gets trapped in your body. The nervous system gets stuck in this frozen state or hyper nervous arousal, and it sends a continuous signal of danger to the brain. And then we get this constant feedback loop, and this causes chronic physical tension and emotional distress. Effectively, very effectively and kindly and very well intentioned by the body, right? Those unprocessed emotions are stored in our physiology. So it is important that we let our feelings go, flow. During this time of year, it is not a bad idea to cry and laugh and ponder and be melancholic and come back to peace and ease. We may feel a lot of those things. Letting ourselves move through them, but also being able to navigate back to something more centered is really a healthy response to this time of year and life. So beyond the nervous system response of that loop that's continually going, the physical body itself develops these holding patterns, these storage lockers. One very famous psychoanalyst, Wilhelm Reich, described this as muscular armoring, the unconscious tensing of the muscles to defend against overwhelming feelings. Think of being a warrior going into battle. You're not really probably walking in there just kind of whistling a tune and swinging your arms. You're holding a shield and you're looking all around, right? You're ready to defend. So what that can do if we're moving through life that way is create hot spots. Shoulders and neck. I can't tell you how many times in my yoga classes, those of you who take them know, I say, anybody have anything special that you want to approach today in class? Shoulders and neck, shoulders and neck. It carries the weight of responsibility. The hips and the pelvis, another hot spot, are known to store deep, unresolved fears and trauma related to safety. The jaw clenching, that's anxiety. And the gut, well, it feels everything, but it also especially feels fear. So emerging research highlights that the fascia, the extensive web of connective tissue, also plays a key role. This is covering your whole body, and it becomes dense and restricted with chronic stress. So this can cause headaches and also just feeling kind of tight or achy when you don't have the flu, but maybe you feel fluish. And releasing these physical restrictions through practices like yoga, massage, breath, meditation, listening to an uplifting, calming podcast is often the key that unlocks these embodied emotions, finally allowing the body to process and let go of the patterns that it has been holding on to, sometimes for years. So what we can do with this knowledge is to take the time to release the body in the ways that feel possible for you, to accept things as they are when we can't change them or control them, and also to accept ourselves. As we spoke of in the last podcast, accepting circumstances, that's one path. But if we can't, if we're just finding too much resistance to accept how things are, at least accept your reaction to that. Accept that you can't accept. That might be the stretch of the day. So we are meant to stretch ourselves. We are meant to hold all of life. And this is what makes being human interesting, fascinating, and even special. That our meaningful moments of tradition and ritual and allowing for the light and gratitude of the season to enter our hearts and create happiness, healing, and hope is part of stretching our container. Maybe that's one of the things that this time of year is all about. These holidays are about energy and light and miracles and love. And even if you live alone or you feel estranged, you can find your own way to stretch open to light and love if that's what you wish to experience. It's all around you. It's waiting for you to notice. And to all of you who may be grieving loved ones, or a life that you're no longer living, or the passage of time leaves you feeling uneasy, I send you the biggest hug, and I feel and know your pain. And I know you will continue to grow and experience more moments of wonder and joy and peace. And we will all grow together and look for the light. It's always looking for you. So let's take a moment. Let's get into the light. Let's take a mindful, meditative break. If you're able to, you'll get comfier. And if you're moving and you're still on the go or you're driving, just get comfy inside yourself. Take a deep breath through your nose. Let a little sound out. Ah. This was a lot of information today. But consider yourself armed with light. It's not really armor, is it? It's more of an allowing. So closing your eyes, relax your hands any way you'd like. And let's take a little visualization. Instead of being the warrior walking through the deep valley, in the deep mountains, I see the kind of ancient archetypal warrior here, waiting for the dragon or the battlefield to erupt. Instead of that, you're going to set down your shield. You're going to take off your armor. You are going to swing your arms by your side. You might hear a tune, a favorite song of the season, or even your own humming. As you see yourself stepping, walking, easing into this beautiful landscape, a valley with a crystal clear river flowing, a light snow on tall, majestic trees, an endless sky that brings clarity to your mind and peace to your heart. And you're walking through this late fall, idyllic, natural setting. And you're open to the experience of light and love. And you can feel that the things that you miss are starting to warm you. They're the memories that you've spent your young or long life gathering. And they're surrounding you. They're warming you, guiding you, holding you, celebrating with you. And you're present even as you bring these along with you from your past to what's coming here. What's here for you this season? Mystical, magical moments, gifts from the universe lining up for you. Pockets of warmth and kindness, gratitude and abundance. And you keep walking through this beautiful, picturesque valley, feeling at home in yourself in this moment, at home in your life. And you realize that you're walking forward. You're walking into your future with every step. And it greets you with comfort, with happiness, with possibilities. And we'll just take a pause and we'll stand in the middle of that scene, breathing like you're breathing in the cleanest, clearest mountain air. And it's circling through your lungs, and it's relaxing your muscles. It's softening your skin. It's illuminating your mind. And you remember that peace is a valley within you. It is a place, it is a destination, but it is also a way. It is a way to be. It is flowing like that river. It is always there for you to step into, stop into, experience, embody, and embrace. Taking a long, deep breath of gratitude into your heart and softly letting it go. When you feel ready, if your eyes were closed for our journey, begin to open them. And now I want to leave you with a blissipline. In some of the Zen Maintenance podcasts, you will receive a blissipline. And today, it is the practice that Gary and Clementine and I shared on our last Thanksgiving together 4 years ago. To write down, or you can text, or you can call someone, or email, or even a few people in your life, and tell them specifically what you're grateful for in them. And then do the same for yourself, specifically. Okay. I'm so honored. I'm so excited that you're here with me on this journey of Zen maintenance. I hope that today your heart was warmed. If you ever want to reach out, ask a question, connect, share a comment, you can email me, info@zenmaintenancepodcast.com. You can also follow me on YouTube. Please follow on YouTube, comment, like, share, or Spotify or Apple. Spread the word. And until I see you again, happy, blessed holidays. I hope you feel the warmth and the light of the universe surrounding you, supporting you, and within you. See you soon.